Today we're going to be taking a look at how to clean up a buffalo cultivator and get it ready for storage over this winter. Now I take quite a bit of time to get my cultivators cleaned up. This is just one of them. I have several to do, but I take pride in taking good care of them because I know it'll help to last for many years to come, and it also makes it so that the parts keep moving freely and then I can work on it without getting extremely dirty over the winter. We seem to pick up quite a bit of mud over the season when we're cultivating, and this is especially true if it rains a lot or when we get into that second pass or third pass on big beans where there's a lot of dew and the ground just really never dries out under the canopy. So I'm going to start off by scraping all the excess mud off the cultivator. It's not horribly complicated, so I'm going to buzz through it. You guys can figure it out, but I'm going to touch on the gauge tire here, the cutaway or disc killer, the stabilizer, anything stuck to the front of the shank or the sweep, and I'm actually going to take a hammer and kind of bang on my shields a little bit, knock any of the loose dirt off. Now, one other thing I like to do is I like to take a cotter pin puller like this, and I like to run it between the stabilizer bearing dust protector and the stabilizer hub and try to remove any dirt in there so that I make sure that we get the dirt cleaned out and it doesn't trash our bearing if it continues to get pushed in there. I'm all done scraping the mud off this cultivator and I'm ready to get started washing. Now when I wash, I personally like to wash everything, and I don't know if that's right or wrong. Everything should be fine to wash. The only thing I really question is the parallel linkage frames. I'm not really sure if it's the best idea to wash those. In the past I've left them just because I didn't want water to get in around the pins and bushings and make things rust over the winter. But I kind of have decided now to go ahead and start washing them again, because if you let the grease get dried on, when you go to rebuild them and you really want to clean them up good so you can take everything apart, I find it's really hard to get that dry grease off even with a nice heated pressure washer. Now that I'm done cleaning up the cultivator, I've given it at least 24 hours to dry off, and I'm going to proceed on to greasing and oiling it to go away in the shed for over the winter. Now before I do that, I like to take the time to go ahead and give the cultivator a good once over and see if there's any bearings or blades I'm going to need to replace over the winter, so that I don't oil or grease these, and to try to keep them a little cleaner so when I take them apart this winter it just won't make such a mess. I have now determined that everything looks pretty good on this unit. I don't think that there's any blades or bearings I'm going to replace. It looks like next year it's going to be time. I've already taken the time and the liberty to go ahead and remove the sweeps before I pressure washed that were bad, so that I didn't clean them up or waste time on that. And I have reinstalled new ones, so I know that those are all ready to go for this winter to go in the shed and be ready to pull out next year and go to the field with it. I'm all done greasing this, so I'm ready to start oiling. Now, in the past, I've liked to use used oil painted on with a paintbrush to my wear items, but last year I got started on a squirt bottle filled with diesel fuel, half diesel fuel, and half just oil of any kind. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to use really heavyweight, but we're using 1540 brand new. Could use the used oil in this too. It's just a little harder to get out of our used oil tank supply than to pump it in out of the pump that we have for new oil. So I'm going to shake this up and spray everything down good so we can prevent some of the rust over the winter. Last but not least, I like to use an oil can, preferably with a flexible hose, to put a drop of oil on each side of the pivot points on the shields. I would only recommend doing this probably if you've taken the time to actually wash your cultivator around the shields well, because if not, you're probably going to be putting oil around dirt, and that'll make kind of a gooey mud, and it'll probably actually have a reverse effect in making those stiffer and gummier. Whereas I'm trying to add oil just to prevent moisture from getting in over the winter and making things rust. Now I'm all done winterizing this cultivator, and I'm going to put it away after I let it drip off for about another 24 hours at least. Try to get some of that excess oil off. Now while I did this whole process, I made sure I take really good notes of what this unit might need over the winter, so that when I bring it into the shop, I can have my parts ordered and ready so that I can go ahead and just disassemble it and fix what needs to be fixed and take it back out. These cultivators have a lot of moving parts that like to freeze up if they're not maintained properly. So I know that I did a lot of work to get this thing ready to go away for the winter, and not everybody's going to have that time. But if you can, I strongly suggest trying to get new grease in the bearings and all the pivot points and oiling these things up, because it'll save you a lot of headaches in the long run of things you'll have to take apart and free up to get moving again if they start to freeze up. It's really the best way to take care of this unit, and I know it'll make it last for a very long time. Now, I know not everybody has the luxury of having a building to put these away in. I strongly suggest if you have a place you can get them put away, it is definitely beneficial. But if you are forced to leave them outside, I prefer to leave them in the unfolded position just as such. This will give the best opportunity to shed water and keep it from getting into parts that are going to freeze up, especially if you live in a colder climate where you get below freezing. A lot of times water gets trapped in places and expands and likes to crack things on these units. So at least if you aren't going to get it inside, maybe try to cover it up outside with a tarp, or at least leave it unfolded. I really hope this was an informative video on some things you can do to help keep your Buffalo cultivator in great running shape. If you have anything else you like to do, please drop it in the comments below or reach out to me, and I'm always happy to add it, as you know, we're looking for the best way to take care of these machines. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see more tips on Buffalo cultivators.